Hello, friends and supporters of Prairie Soap House and Apothecary. I want to welcome you to the Apothecary. I want to welcome you to a new series called Monday Musings that I'm going to be doing in the afternoons most of the time on Mondays to kind of talk about how we can set intentions for our week and connecting with some fresh start sort of feelings as we get started with our work week. I want to take a little bit of time today to talk to you about some aromatherapy hacks to help with that. I want to talk to you about some of the processes that I've gone through this summer to reach the point where I have a better understanding of what it means to set intentions, and then I'm going to share with you some of the other apothecary news that you have to look forward to. So if you are joining me live, welcome. I would love for you to give me some hearts or some thumbs up or say hey in the chat thread so that I know that you're here. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and hashtag replay. And if this is your first time visiting this page, my name is Erin Oberlander. I am a certified holistic aromatherapist with training in a lot of different areas, as well as a wide practice that includes a lot of different things for you, including nutrition solutions, products, community, personal development, lots of different things happening here at the Apothecary. So this summer has been a season of tremendous personal growth for me, and it was something, how life goes, that I didn't necessarily have on the agenda. I had this idea of certain things that I wanted to accomplish this summer, certain projects that I wanted to tackle, and it was all very much about being in action. And to be very honest, God just kind of put me on the sidelines for a while, and he said, you need to work through some things that you haven't been allowing yourself to work through. And those things were, frustrations and fears from the past, anger that I was dealing with, disappointments, even some, grief that I needed to work through. All of that to say that this stuff was kind of like just clogged up in me, and I had never given myself permission to process it because I was afraid if I processed those emotions, I would become those emotions. I would become an angry person, or I would become a bitter person, or I would become a fearful person, or whatever the case may be. And what was really interesting about this process is that when I finally just surrendered to it and allowed myself to just go to those places emotionally and really start processing those emotions, that so many insights started coming up as a result of processing through those things. And as I allowed myself to sort of emotionally metabolize those things that I needed to process through, I found that after a while, I was more observing the feelings than I was actually feeling them. And once I found myself in this state of being an observer of those feelings, I was able to release them. So I went through about 3 weeks to a month of that process where it was just like allowing these things to come to the surface so that they could be released. And as I was doing this, I was getting closer and closer and closer and closer to what I would call like my soul's purpose, or my own place of really true alignment, or maybe you would call it like your true inner self, the self that God created me to be, the one that he has put those desires and goals in. And it was interesting because previous to this experience, I had felt that I was really in touch with that. I had felt like I was really in touch with my soul's purpose and was working that out in my life. But the way that I was working out in my life was, to be honest, like kind of exhausting. And I hadn't really internalized like how to just be in myself and who I am. So if you understand what I'm saying, give me some hearts, give me some likes, tell me that I'm not alone in having this experience, that almost at 40 years of age, I'm still figuring out who I am, right? The thing is that I knew who I was. I just didn't have like a real firm emotional connection between who I am and the things that I want to do. And so in this process, I really feel like I got connected and clarified and reintegrated. So I like sort of broke down so that I could see everything that was on the table, and then kind of went through a process of reintegration and rebuilding through that. And as I did that, I realized that my soul's calling and my purpose, like in a really broad sense, and this does pertain to today's video, is that I really care about connecting you with yourself, with nature, and with the divine, whatever that means to you. And this applies completely to the Apothecary and really everything that I have going on here at the Apothecary, because everything that I really care about in my life is pertaining to those areas, connecting you back to yourself and your intuition, to your own soul's purpose, connecting you back to nature so that you can live a holistic lifestyle with ease. That's really my mission statement right now, is helping you to live a holistic lifestyle with ease and connecting you to a sense of the divine, or a higher being, or your higher self, or God, or however you want to process that, something bigger than yourself. And in so doing with those things, we can find that there's a lot of different tools to figure out how to do that. And that is really what I feel like I'm on this planet to do, is I am here to help you connect with a lot of different ways and a lot of different tools to help you connect with yourself, with nature and the divine, in a way that is holistic and in a way that's easy. So in the last 15 years, I have in my own personal life dealt with a lot of really challenging health issues. And through that process, hi Cheryl, I've learned a lot, and I have a lot of tools in my toolbox to offer you all in terms of ways to leverage yourself into a better quality of life, into a life that is more connected to your own soul, to nature. And so the Apothecary in this whole process sort of got put back together in a much more cohesive sense. And I realized that it all made sense to me, all the things that I've been doing, but maybe I haven't been communicating that very clearly. And that I also have a lot that I would love to teach and share with you all, that I just haven't been using the tools and resources at my disposal to do so. So the Apothecary has been around for, gosh, almost 15 years as well. And through the course of that time, there's been a lot of different things that have been added to the mix of what I offer here at the Apothecary. So obviously we have aromatherapy. I'm a certified holistic aromatherapist. I also work with nutritional solutions for people, because I really feel that nutrition and mindset are absolutely foundational. As part of that, I connect you to personal development tools and community that's supportive. I also have training in natural perfumery and flower essences. I distill my own essential oils. We live on a permaculture farm here, so the greater view of what I'm doing is also teaching you just about some seasonal living things and intuition. And through that, my friend Corey Messer and I have developed a course to plug people into that are interested in that seasonal and intuitive living aspect of life. I have in-person classes in the area, maybe looking at offering some things online as well. And then the last piece that I'm going to be putting in here is kind of like the cherry on top of everything, and it's the chunk that I feel like I've been missing all these years, and that is to get some more formalized training in herbalism, which I'm going to be beginning very shortly here to do. So I'm very excited to be able to offer you a full array of holistic offerings that are designed to take all of the confusion and guesswork and reading all of the websites and listening to all of the experts out of the picture, because I have spent a lot of time doing that for you. And I have distilled it down to what I feel are the essential things, and to some things that can really create leverage for you. And if those things on their own don't do that, then I also have a lot of other places to plug you into. So please know that I'm here to serve you with anything holistic living, whatever that means to you. Please reach out. So today I wanted to share that story with you, not to talk about myself, but to emphasize how important it is to connect with our true soul, with our true purpose, and then let intention flow from that. So I think a lot of times we set these goals that we think we're supposed to have, right? Like, oh, I'm going to lose weight, or I need to pay off some debt, or whatever. And we just see that as like kind of the end of the sentence, and we don't really explore much further why those things are important to us. But when we start asking more questions, okay, why do I really care about losing weight? What is that really about for me? What's behind that? Or say you want to change your career because you're unhappy in your current situation. Well, why is that? And what would you want to do instead? And why? You know, like, we don't ask the why question often enough, and we don't ask it enough times. So Corey talks about the why behind the why behind the why. So when you start peeling back all those layers of distractions, of just crap you have to get done in your life, adulting, the expectations that you have on yourself, and you finally get to the core of who you are and what really is resonating in your soul. What is really in alignment for you? What is it that if you weren't getting paid to do it would still get you out of bed really excited in the morning to hit the ground running with what you feel like you're on this planet to do? What motivates you beyond anything else? What is really in there? And when we can find that core of who we are and let all of our work flow from that place, then there becomes this flow of effortless ease that can come into our work life, our relationships, our home life, our relationship with food, our relationship with exercise, because it's all connected back to that deepest part of who you are. The scriptures talk about it as the inner heart, like this heart that's almost inside our heart, that's inside of our heart. The Vedic texts talk about it more as like your true self would be one way that we could say that. So connecting with that is something that you first have to do if you expect your intentions to, or your goals to actually result in anything. Because if you're just putting a goal out there, but you don't have the emotional heft behind it to keep you going, then you're going to fall off the wagon. You're going to struggle with being consistent. You're going to struggle with discouragement a lot more than if what you're doing is really being motivated and pulled by your heart's purpose. So it's the difference between feeling like you're swimming upstream or you're floating downstream. When you're connected with your inner self, with your truest self, then when you actually go to do your work and set your intentions and work on your goals, it feels like moving downstream because it's being motivated from that really beautiful place deep within your soul. So that all might sound really woo-woo, but I've spent the last 3 years really working on a lot of personal development, and this was a key thing that I think I was missing for a long time. I was letting it be so intellectual, because the intellectual life is very satisfying to me. Let me know if you resonate with that. But I think my ego and my sense of self-protection was preventing me from letting things really sink in here. And when I started making the connection between the two and allowing my soul to sort of start guiding the ship is when things finally started making sense for me. And I felt like I was really connected with like a wellspring of ideas and creativity and motivation that I had felt disconnected from for a really long time, a really, really, really long time. Like I remember being connected to this when I was a kid, and then somewhere along the way, life beats it out of us, really. And so I think that when we're thinking about setting intentions for our week, we would be remiss to do that if we don't first know, what do we really want? What are your true desires? The ones that are really in your heart, not the ones that somebody else thinks that you should do, not the one that the personal development expert thinks that you should do, or the one that your spouse thinks that you should do, or your best friends, or your parents, or whatever the case may be. Like, what do you really think about what you should do in your life? So I want to get you connected to that first, and then allow your intentions. Intentions to me mean much more than goals. Goals mean like something that you check off a list. Intention is like, no, I see the target and I'm going to hit the target, and here's the plan I'm making for that to happen as my intuition and my soul guides me to create that action towards that intention. So kind of different. So when we're thinking of creating those intentions, we have to first get really clear on what our true desires are. And then once we know what our desires are, we can then look at our week ahead and say, okay, I now know what my desire is. I've been honest with myself about that. What are some small steps even that I can take to move myself further down the road with that? And then getting those things on paper and using that desire, those emotions, that soulful place. When people talk about like, somebody who really is soulful, or somebody who like plays with the blood, somebody who's just like really connected in a gritty way to like, no, this is what I'm here to do, then those intentions are just going to flow out of that. And the energy to do what you need to do is going to flow out of that. But I always like to give you a little bit of leverage because, again, my goal here is to not make things hard for you, it's to make things easier. So there's a couple of aromatherapy hacks that I found really, really helpful with this, with processing through these emotions, but then also setting intentions and seeing things come to fruition. And why this works is because when we associate a certain smell with certain actions or certain emotions, then it's easier for our brain to get back into that state very quickly. So you can think about a lot of memories that you have associations with. If you smell those smells associated with those memories, it's like you're immediately back there. So an example that I always think of is the smell of birthday candles being blown out. I always associate that back to like happy childhood memories of my parents giving me really fun birthday parties and things like just celebration. So this is an aromatherapy association that you can make with your deepest core desires, as well as use it then every time you go to set your intentions for the week, the day, or whatever the case may be. So I love to use something called Palo Santo. And this is a Palo Santo stick. It's a little bit washed out in this light. But Palo Santo is harvested in South America, and it would take me a long time to tell you everything about this. But it is a wonderful tool. It's what we call one of our sacred scents. It's in the same family as sage and frankincenses and other things that have been used in worship or meditation practices. But this happens to be my favorite one of that whole family. So with Palo Santo, you can simply just order some of these sticks. You can get these from Floricopia and a lot of other places. And then you're just going to use it as a smudging stick, which is a traditional way that these types of materials have been used all throughout history. This is not weird woo-woo like voodoo or anything going on. All we're doing is we're allowing the scent molecule from the Palo Santo wood to go into the air, and then as we're setting our intentions and connecting with our soul's purpose, we're also locking that in with an olfactory smell. The other way that you can use Palo Santo is in essential oil form. This is very hard to see. This is the essential oil form, concentrated essential oil. I actually do have this. I think I have one left for sale on my website, prairiearomatherapy.com, if you're interested in that. So Palo Santo, I love to use just as simply as an anointing oil, and I don't do undiluted oils on my skin very often, but when it's just going to be a single drop that I, put somewhere on my body where I'm going to be smelling it as I am working on my meditation, or even as I'm working throughout the day, if I'm in action towards my intention, I will also use this almost like a single note perfume. Or you can diffuse this. So if you have a diffuser, you can put water in there, and then this is really strong, so 1 or 2 drops is all you're going to need, and then have that going in the space while you are working on your prayers, your meditations, your intention setting, and then also as you're in action towards those things, because once you get really clear and your body then also has that olfactory sense locked into that clarity, it will bring you back there every time you need to get there. So this is just something that makes it a little bit easier to find that place back to yourself again once you get lost, because it's kind of an inevitability of life that we're gonna get off track. It's normal. We should expect it. We should not be so hard on ourselves when we do. So that is a little bit of an aromatherapy hack for you this week with setting goals and intentions. It's Monday. We're always thinking of fresh starts on Monday. Whether you're going back to a job that you love or that you hate, you can always leverage yourself into a better mindset, a better situation, a better position as you even incrementally work on connecting to that soul's purpose and then setting intentions that are truly in alignment with that. If you guys have any questions or comments about that, or if you have any other things that have helped you personally with that, please put it in the comments below. So I just want you to know that Monday musings are going to be a regular thing from now on. So you can expect this sometime during the day on Monday live, or you can watch the recording afterwards. On Wednesdays, I'm going to be doing a regular essential oil profile. So every week I'm going to choose one essential oil and I'm going to profile it for you very briefly. It'll be a much briefer presentation than this about how you would use that essential oil or hydrosol or other way that we would apply it. and some things that we could expect to benefit from that essential oil. And then Fridays are going to be Friday fun. And so maybe I'll toss out a recipe, or maybe I'll show you some of the things that are going on around the apothecary, or maybe I will do a Q&A. So let me know what you guys are interested in learning more about in the comments here, and I will definitely put those things on the docket. But for this Wednesday, we're going to be talking about peppermint, which is an essential oil that is very helpful for the hottest season of the year, which we are definitely in right now. So you guys have a beautiful week connected with your soul's purpose and with your intentions, and just stay focused on those things, and let me know how I can be of help through the apothecary.